fifth chapter of Nāṭyaśāstra is titled Pūrvaraṅga Vidhanam. Those who can read this Panchamodhyaya, chapter 5th, Pūrvaraṅga Vidhanam is the title of this chapter. The prescriptions for Pūrvaraṅga, or the way to perform Pūrvaraṅga. Pūrvaraṅga is normally, it can be translated as preliminaries, the preliminaries, or the rituals, or a kind of performance which is presented before the beginning of a play. Before presenting a play on the stage, before putting a play on the stage, actually, you do a kind of ritualistic performance. And that is called Pūrvaraṅga. Purvam Rangat. You can split it that way. It is done first before any show, any performance. So the difference between Rang Devat Pujan and Pūrvaraṅga is that Rang Devata Pujan is performed after a theater building, a new building is completed. So it is like Vastu Shanti as it is in practice nowadays. And all the gods related to theater or Natya, they are invoked and they are seated, they are made to sit. It is believed that they have descended, they are enshrined in various parts of the building, and a Brahma Mandal, a circular structure is in linings is made in the middle of the Rangashirsha, and all the gods, they are invoked and they are made to sit in an imaginary way within that Rang Mandala, and then puja is done for each and every god with respective articles which are prescribed, like flowers and rice and food items, sometimes non-vegetarian items also. And this is Ranga Devata Pujana, it should be performed properly. But Pūrvaraṅga is something different than that. If you are presenting a particular play as a preliminary to the performance of the play, as per the script handed over to you by the poet or the dramatist, the performers do some kind of activity to begin with. So it is done to begin with. Therefore, it is called Pūrvaraṅga or preliminary, you can say. Next. The entire chapter 5th is devoted to the description of preliminaries. That indicates that it's a very important part of Natya, both Rang Devat Pujana and Pūrvaraṅga. In Bharata's view, they are very important. The way he highlights them and the way entire 2 chapters are devoted to each one. Third chapter to Rang Devat Pujana and 5th chapter to Pūrvaraṅga. So they are important. And there are various views on both these chapters by modern scholars, especially on the third chapter devoted to Rang Devat Pujana. And some scholars say that they are interpolations. They are not parts of the original design of Nāṭyaśāstra. And they are created as a defense structure for the survival of theater, because the theater or Natya is being attacked by the Puritanists. So Vedic gods are brought in, Puranic gods are brought in, and a sort of ritual is given. And then it is said that the whole performance is like a ritual, like a yajna. Natya itself is a yajna. Yajna sammitam yatad rang devat pujanam, as the last lines there said, they say. So to sanctify the whole Natya, this was done. This is one view. And Adya Rangacharya was a great scholar. He was a great author in Kannada. And his name is actually R.V. Jagirdar. He was a Sanskrit professor in Maharaja College. So those who are interested in Nāṭyaśāstra studies, they should remember this name. His books are there. by the name of R.V. Jagirdar. Otherwise, in Kannada literature, he is a great laureate, Gyanpith Awardee, and a great author. Uh, so his view is that it is all an interpolation, and it is useless also, unnecessarily justifying Natya. But I don't believe in Adi Rangacharya, because it seems that the whole idea of Natya being like Yajna is embedded in the whole conceptual universe of Bharat Muni. He says that fifth Veda, Natya Veda, is created by cooling, by drawing four respective elements from Vedas. Then there are various motifs which are drawn from the Vedic Yajna. So the Yajna Mandapa becomes Natya Mandapa, the Yajna Vedi becomes the Vedi here, and the idea of performance proceed as per that. So the entry of actors will be regulated because there is a Vedi, there is a Mandala, there is a Brahma Mandal. So there is a circular movement whenever an actor stages his entry, Production Pravesh, he makes a circumambulation because he thinks that there is a Brahma Mandal, the gods are there. So he, after making his entry, he performs a Pradakshina. So all these performing styles, they have generated because this idea that Rangdevat Pujan is done and the theater is consecrated that way. So therefore we perform in the presence of gods. So the performance is oriented with the whole idea of the presence of cosmic beings on the stage, and that has cast an impact on the techniques of performance. That Kapilavasan also agrees with it, and I also believe in it. So this that way, the third chapter dealing with Rangadevat Pujana and the fifth chapter dealing with Pūrvaraṅga, they are important. So Pūrvaraṅga doesn't actually consist of worships as such. It is rather theatrical and very beautiful. It is relieving for the actors and for the audiences also to see some light arrangements, some light performances before the actual start of the play, the actual script of the play. So that is the idea. So in modern performances also we do some kind of Purvaranga, like we make announcement that we will be presenting before you this sort of play. Be prepared for it. Let the musicians come and play some tune. The announcer would be saying all these things. So all these things have been given a very systematic order in the items, in the various items of Purvaranga, and that Purvaranga should be performed before the performance of a play. So the first stanza of the fifth chapter says, Bharatasya vacha shrutva nartya santana karanam punareva pruvan vakyam rishayo rishtamanasa. After listening to Bharata's elaboration of Rangadevat Pujan and his presentation of his plays before Shiva, that is described in the fourth chapter. We have omitted fourth. We will be taking it up in the next lecture, because Puraranga and Rangadevat Pujan and Puraranga, they are like external to the actual performance, and they have a ritualistic character. They are performed like rituals. Therefore, I am taking them together. Otherwise, the sequence in Nāṭyaśāstra is that Bharat Muni is asked how theater building is created. He describes theater building. Then he is asked how the gods that you say that they are in the theater building, how they are worshipped. So he describes Rangdevat Pujana. After Rangdevat Pujana, he says that this theater building has been created. I made Rangdevat Pujana. Then I prepared two plays, Samudra Manthan Samaukar and Tripurda Dim. I presented these two plays before Shiva. Shiva was pleased, and he asked me to incorporate dance also. So all these Bharat Muni has narrated. So after this, the sages who are listening to Bharat Muni, This is a dialogue, the whole Nāṭyaśāstra being a dialogue between Bharat Muni and other sages. So, having listened to his elaborations, his narrative, the sages, Punareva Abruvan Vakyam, Rishayo Rashtamanasa. Second line says, the rishis or sages, you can say seers, they again asked Bharat Muni. They were pleased, Rashtamanasa, they were very happy, having listening to Bharat Muni's explanations and the whole beginning of Natya. Pūrarangam Mahateja Sarva Lakshana Sanyutam Yatha Buddhya Mahe Brahmans Tatha Vyakhyatum Arhasi. O Brahman, O knowledgeable one, O Brahmagyanin. Second line, it is Brahman. They ask, O Mahateja. This is also addressed. Brahman and Mahateja, these two words are addressed to Bharat Muni. O Brahman, O Mahateja. O Mahateja is a person who is very tejasvi, who is very gleaming with radiance. So, O Mahateja and O Brahman. Sarva Lakshana Sanyutam Pūrvarangam Yatha Buddhyamahe Tatha Vyakhyatum Arhasi. The way we can know all the characteristics of Pūrvaranga, you explain them in that way. This is the question or the query. So why Pūrvaranga they are asking? Because there is a systematic order. Because Pūrvaranga has been referred to in the 4th chapter. Bharat Muni says that I presented my 2 plays before Shiva. I went to Kailas and presented 2 performances before Shiva. Before each performance, I did Pūrvaranga. Pūrvaranga Krita Purvam. In 4th chapter, 10th stanza, he says, I did Pūrvaranga first. And Shiva was pleased. And he said that Pūrvaranga was very good. But you make it more elaborate. Shiva, this is Shiva's word in 14th stanza of the 4th chapter. Pūrvaranga vidhau asmin tvaya samyak prayujyatam. This dance also you add in this Pūrvaranga vidhi. So it will become more colorful. Shiva was very happy. He is a very nice guy for all these theater people. So he behaves them in a very decent way. He treats them in a very decent way. He is very happy to see the performance by Bharata Muni. And he said that, okay, it is very good. You add something more in, I will tell you how to add it. So Bharat Muni came having become more rich as far as the performance part goes after meeting Lord Shiva. So because Bharat Muni has referred to Pūrvaranga in his narrative, his meeting with Shiva and his performances before Shiva, and he refers to Pūrvaranga having been done before each performance, and Shiva suggesting that you make it more colorful, more elaborate. Then this word Pūrvaranga occurs, and the sages who are curious to know about Natya, they do not know what Pūrvaranga is. Therefore, they ask that you describe Pūrvaranga to us, you explain Pūrvaranga to us. Tesham tu vachanam shrutva muninam bharato muni. The 5th stanza says, having listened to the query of the Munis, vachanas of the Munis, Pratyavach punar vakyam Pūrvaranga vidhim prati. Bharat Muni Pratyavach replied with these words describing the Pūrvaranga vidhi, the whole process of Pūrvaranga. Next, it is 28th. Yes. Okay, it is. We can quickly read it. Lord Shiva was pleased to witness the performance and suggested that they should include some dance in the items of the preliminaries or Pūrvaranga. And he said that I have taught dance to Tandu or Tandava. I have taught this dance to Tandu, this Tandava dance to him, and he will teach you. So Bharata was gratified by this addition. He was obliged. And 5th chapter, 7th stanza. Next, this is 29th. Yasmadrange prayogam prayogoyam purvameva prayujyate. It is Pūrvaranga defined. So the definition of Pūrvaranga is because for any Ranga prayoga, for any performance, this Pūrvaranga is presented first. Therefore, it is called Pūrvaranga. Purvam Rangat, you can say. the Ranga or actual prayoga or performance of a play follows after it. Therefore, it is called Pūrvaraṅga. Tasmadayam Pūrvarango Vigyayo Dvijasattama. O Dvijasattamas, O Dvijas, that is why it is called Pūrvaraṅga. Okay, we will omit Abhinav Gupta's explanations. Eighth stanza says, Asyangani tu karyani yathavadanu purvashah. All the components or the angas of Pūrvaraṅga should be performed in a sequential order. Yathavat anupurusha. Properly and in a sequence, they should be performed. Tantri Bhanda Samayogi Pathya Yoga Kritaistatha. And Tantris and Bhandas will accompany them, and Pathya, recitation, textual part will also accompany them. Tantri is stringed instruments, Bhanda is percussions, drums. So drums and instruments, stringed instruments, veena, etc., ektara, veena, etc., may be played when these items are being presented. So this Pūrvaraṅga is musical, rhythmical, and it is the beginning of a theater performance, initiating the audiences into the actual performance. So it prepares a sort of ground for the actual performance, so that you are led to the world of the dramatist. So to perform Kalidasa Shakuntal is a challenge. So you have a modest beginning by having some light items before the performance and initiate the audience. This is the idea behind Pūrvaraṅga. So coming to the purpose next of the purpose of Pūrvaraṅga, Pūrvaraṅga fulfills various purports or purposes for actual Natya Prayoga. So one purpose is propitiation of the deities and appeasement of evil spirits. That is also there. In some items, there are invocations for evil spirits and good spirits. So that is one. Or at least in Nandi, the gods are appeased. The gods are invoked to make things good for the performers, for the audiences, for for the person who is sponsoring. So uh, this is one purpose. Another purpose is to prepare the background for the performance of a play, that is to create accordingly an appropriate atmosphere suitable to the performance, both for the actors and the spectators. And another purpose which Pūrvaraṅga fulfills is to make them mentally prepared to stage or witness the show. Both the performers and the audience are better prepared to perform and to receive the performance. So a kind of mentality is prepared, and it is helpful for both the performer and the prekshakas. So it creates a sort of atmosphere leading to the world of drama. When we read the various items of Pūrvaraṅga, when we know about them, it will become more clear. And next purpose it serves is to provide the repertoire an adequate opportunity and time to make all the necessary arrangements for before the show starts. This also is possible. That some actors are latecomers, they are dressing, their makeup is not completed. See, Pūrvaraṅga is very flexible. You can prolong an item of the Pūrvaraṅga as much as you can. You can perform them quickly also. There are 19 items. So you can devote 1 minute to each and perform them within 20 minutes. You can devote 10 minutes, 15 minutes to each. You can take many hours for Pūrvaraṅga itself. In Kuriattam, the Pūrvaraṅga is complete in several days. So they go on doing Pūrvaraṅga. Vidushaka enters and he starts delivering a lecture, and there are dialogues which the performers have created for themselves. So this is also possible. This was possible during the times when people had people were not so busy, and they had time for the performances, so they can sit for the nights all night and see whatever the performers are doing, their improvisations, their additions. So Pururanga can be elaborated and enlarged as much as it can be done by the performers. So meanwhile, the actors racing or doing some kind of toilet, they can be better prepared, and to provide a light entertainment to the troupe itself so that the members of the troupe feel at ease when the show is started and are mentally fit to assume the heavy burden of enacting the play. These are various purposes which Pūrvaraṅga serves. And Bharat Muni says that he used to do simple Pūrvaraṅga, and Lord Shiva suggested some amendments, additions, and he said that dance is not there, dance is missing. At least in Pūrvaraṅga, you had dance. When you perform a play, if dance is not there in between the play, you may do so. Otherwise, there are two types of nritya. One nritta, as Bharat Muni calls it, that it is integrated in the performance. The whole performance goes in a dance full way because your hand movements, your head, eyes, each and every part of you is dancing. Even when you are performing a play in prose, that is an integration of dance or dance style in the performance. Or you can present a dance additionally in a play, that there is a scene of dance. Malvika is presenting her Chalita Nritya in Malvika Agnimitram, a play by Kalidasa. So Shiva suggested that there is no dance in your performance, in your entire performance. So you should add dance somewhere. At least in Pūrvaraṅga, you have some dance. So then two types of Pūrvarangas are described in this chapter. One is Shuddha Pūrvaranga. Shuddha Pūrvaranga, as it was originally conceived by Bharat Muni. And Chitra Pūrvaranga, it became more striking and elaborate after the suggestions by Shiva were incorporated. So these two types of Pūrvarangas are described in the fifth chapter. Then Abhinav Gupta, we can very beautifully, Abhinav Gupta suggest that Pūrvaranga is actually integrated with the actual performance of a play. So he gives the metaphorical example of Turi, Tantu, and Vema, just as a weaver weaves a cloth. So he will need the fibrous stick that is called Turi, and he will need the threads, Tantus, spinned Tantus he will need, and there is an instrument, we call it in Hindi, we call it kargha, and then he will weave the cloth. So the cloth is like a play in the performance, but the apparatus, this turi and tantu and the weaving instrument, kargha, Pūrvaraṅga does it for them. Pūrvaraṅga provides the whole instrumental design for the actual performance of a play. I will not cite Abhinav Gupta, and this is his idea actually. So all the items of the Pūrvaraṅga, they are performed on the Ranga Shirsha. So you must keep in mind the whole theater design which has been explained in the second chapter, which we have earlier taken up. And the stage is divided into two parts, Ranga Shirsha and Ranga Pitha. So Ranga Shirsha is the part adjoined to the green room or Nepatya. And Ranga Pitha is the part close to the audiences. So these items are performed on the Ranga Shirsha. This is what Bharata says. Then 9 items are listed here. From 9th stanza to 11th stanza of the 5th chapter, it is which are performed behind the curtain. So there are two types of the items of the Pūrvaraṅga. Out of the 19, 9 items are to be performed behind the curtain, and 10 are performed after the curtain has been tossed aside. So there is a moving curtain, 2 persons are carrying 2 ends, holding 2 ends of a cloth, and the performers performing these initial 9 items, they are covered by that cloth that is called javanika or curtain, you can say. And these nine items are Pratyahar. You can quickly read, those who can read. Pratyahar, Avataran, Arambh, Ashravana, Vakrapani, Parighattana, Sanghotana, Marga Sarit, and Jesht Madhya Kanisthani Asaritani. And these are the 9 items named. And the 11th stanza says that these are called Bahir Gita. Songs will not accompany with the performance of these 9 items. And they are Antar Javanikagat. They are performed behind the curtain. Antar Javanika. Javanika is curtain. And Antar is Andar, as we say in Hindi. It is inside or behind the curtain. And songs are not sung but Tantu Vadya, Tantri Vadya, and Bhanda, percussions or drums. They can be played. So Prayoktri is performer, last line. So Prayokti should perform them in accompaniment to Tantri and Bhanda. This is the last line, 11th stanza. Abhinav Gupta explains that Javanika is a moving curtain which is held between the Rangpit and Rangashirsha, so that the Rangashirsha is covered by Javanika. And these performers are standing on the Rangashirsha. They are covered by the Javanika. And these 9 items will be performed in the coverage. Next. Then quickly we'll read them, that if you have learned the names, Pratyahar, Avataran, Ashravana, Sanghotna, Vakrapani, etc., each of them is being defined. Kutapasya tu vinyasa pratyahara iti smrita. The arrangement of kutapa, all the instruments, musical instruments, they are placed on the Vedi, on the platform where the Gayakas and Vadakas, where the singers and instrumentalists will be sitting. So the placement of instruments, each instrument has a place on the Vedi as per the sitting arrangement of the instrumentalists and singers. So the placement of the instruments on the Vedi is Pratyahara. In modern performances also, there is a ghanti, that is you see, they are a kind of whistle or some kind of announcement is made. So it is for the preparation of the actual performance. So the instruments are being placed so that the instrumentalists know that their instruments are placed on the respective places. Now they will be entering. So the songstresses, the lady singers, they enter. Tatha avataranam proktam gaikanam niveshanam. Avatarana is the next item. So the gaikas, the lady singers, they enter and they sit on the Vedi. Parigita kriya arambhati kirtita. Some kind of tuning. Song is not actually sung, but the beginning, like an alap by the gaikas. So in between themselves, they are humming some tune. That is arambha. Atodhyaranjanartham tu bhaved ashravana vidhi. For the tuning of the instruments, atodhyaranjan. Ashravana is done. Ashravana is tuning of the instruments. Atodhyaranjan. And Vadyavritti Vibhagartham Bhaktrapanir Vidiyate. For this, for discriminating each instrument from the other. The drum will be played and the Tantuvadya will be played with this tune. So they are tuning is done in between these instruments, and uh, uh, they are making arrangements for tuning in between them. So Vadya Vritti Vibhag will be there. That here this instrument is played and here this instrument is played. So this adjustment is being done. That is Vaktrapani. Then Tantiyojak Karnartham tu Bhavetcha Parigattana. For having the instruments attuned, that is Ojak Karana. वो सितार कसते हैं, तार उसके कसते हैं, वीणा के तार कसते हैं. So for attunement, they have the adjustment of the strings. That is Tantriyojak Karana. That is called Parighattana. So again, I will explain them rapidly in English. Next is 36th. So 9 items of the Pūrvaraṅga, they are performed from behind the curtain, and they are called Bahirgita because songs are not actually sung. Pratyahara is arrangement of instruments. Avtarana is musicians taking their respective seats. Arambha is uh, commencing the exercise of singing, and vocal exercise actually. It is vocal, not vocal. And Ashravana is adjustment of musical instruments to their proper tune. Bhaktrapani is a rehearsal playing the instruments in different styles to make hands at ease with them. Parighattana is playing the strings of the instruments to make them sticky for playing. Sanghotana is implying the hands in different manners to indicate time beats in the music. Marga Sarit is the drums and strings instruments played together in harmony. And Asarit is making distinction of Kala and Pata, with regards to the time beats. And it is of three types, Jesht, Madhya, Kanishtha. So long, medium, and short. It is long. It is not Ling, Long. So these 9 items, briefly, they are explained as per the definitions given by Bharat Muni. Next, we come to the items described by Bharat Muni, which are performed off the curtain. So the curtain is tossed aside, and then the remaining 10 items are performed. So we will quickly read these stanzas from 12th to 16th. 12th stanza says that Tata Sarvaistu Kutubei Sanyuktani Karayet. The remaining items will be accompanied with Kutapa. Kutapa is the instruments which are being played in accompaniment to the performance together with the instrumentalist and singers. So the Kutapa now starts participating in the remaining 10 items. And dance and recitation of some text also goes. Dance and dialogues, they may also accompany. Vighatyave Yavanika. The Yavanika, or actually it is Javanika. In some editions it is Yavanika. The word Yavanika is not there in Sanskrit, it is Javanika. So it should be corrected. So after having removed the Javanika or curtain, these items will be presented in accompaniment with dance and text. Then he describes the 10 items. The first item is Gitaka. So with Gitaka, Madraka types of Gitas will be sung, and Vardhamana is an item. With Vardhamana, the Laya goes on increasing. That is why it is called Vardhamana. So the tempo or Laya is more rapid, becomes more rapid. It is being increased. So it is Vardhamana, and Tandav dance is performed with it. Uttapanaṁ karyam. After that, Utthapan is performed and Parivartan is performed. Utthapan and Parivartan I will take separately. They are very important. And whenever they do Pūrvaraṅga in the performance of Sanskrit plays now Sanskrit plays are being performed as per Nāṭyaśāstra system. In Sanskrit University, at least, we have a Center for Study of Nāṭyaśāstra, and they have a repertoire and they perform. I started when I was there in the Sanskrit University. So this Utthapan and Parivartana, they are very important. They are very theatrical also. So the whole play is being uh, started through these items, Utthapan and Parivartana. So it is a very theatrical way of taking steps and invocations, etc. Then Nandi will take separately. Shushkav Krishna is uh, speaking the syllables which are to be played on the drums. Tal ke bol, Shushkav Krishna, that is, it has no meaning. So the syllables which are uttered for playing the tabla or a pakhavaj or a mridanga, in themselves they are not meaningful. Ta, thai, tat, thai, din, dha, etc. So they are meaningless syllables. Their chanting is called Shushkava Krishna. Then Rangadwara is also a kind of opening for the actual show. So it gives a glimpse of the actual play which will be performed. Then Chari and Mahachari, these two items. Chari is a footwork, and it is described in the 10th chapter of Nāṭyaśāstra. And if Chari is performed with vigorous, forceful movements, then it becomes Mahachari. And if it is performed with graceful movement, it is Chari. So walking with one foot raised in a dance, it is called Chari. So Chari and Mahachari will be performed. Trika and Prarochana. These two items are very dramatic, theatric. Trika is a discussion between three persons, Surtadhara and two Pariparshvikas. One of them is Vidushaka, and other is his assistant. So that is called Trigat or Trika. And Prarochana is appreciation of the play which will be performed. Something, some hint of the play that is dropped in a theatric way. So these are the remaining 10 items. If you count them, perhaps there will be 11. And uh, Abhinav Gupta says that one of them is included with the other. So actual number will be then 10. We will come to that. So these are the names and a sort of rough idea of each and every one of them. We will have a quick glimpse. We will have a quick glance over each and every one once again in the next one. After removing the curtain, the remaining items of Pūrvaraṅga are presented with the accompaniment of dance and music. The first item is Gita, that is singing of song. It is Madraka actually. Bhadraka is typed. It is in text, it is Madraka. Madraka is a type of song. And Vardhamanaka is next item, performance of Tandava dance. As I have told you, Utthapan is offering salutations to all the guardian deities of four directions. And Parivartana is offering salutations to all the guardian deities of four directions. Then Nandi, salutary prayers, invocation of the gods made before the actual dramatic performance. Shushkavkrishta, singing of the Dhruva songs of Avkrishta type. This Dhruva has meaningless syllables in it, and it is meant for Jarjara. So Jarjar Pujan is done with Shushkavkrishta. And the specimen of Jarjar is this Shushkavkrishta is also given. So they are very good syllables actually. So even if you see the tribes dancing, they have a kind of chanting like this, as Bharat Muni has given, Digle, Digle, Jhantu, Jhantu, etc., etc. So they are actually the syllables uttered, and they may be meaningless syllables. And like in tantric mantras also, Reem, Kleem, etc., etc. So they may not be having exactly any meaning, but they serve a very powerful purpose. So this Shushkavkrishta is that way, and it is for worship of the Jarjara. Then Rangdwara is starting the verbal and physical gesticulations. Chari's movement in a delicate erotic movements to delicate and erotic sentiments. Mahachari's movements to delineate furious sentiments. Trigata or Trika is also the name for Trigata. Trigata and Trika, they are synonymous. Vidushaka, it is Vidushaka, Pariparshvik and Sutadhara. They converse with each other in a very playful way, one teasing the other or uh, inciting the other one. Vidushaka starts teasing Sutadhara that you will commit some blunder. I don't agree with the way you are performing. Something wrong you will do. Anything he will say for the amusement of the audience because audience is now seeing. So this is Vidushaka. He is called Vidushaka because he is making dushan. He is uh, alleging, making some allegements that something wrong is being done. So he is always uh, talking of the wrongs being done. That is why he is Vidushaka. He is finding the faults. So that is for the amusement. So a sort of amusing discussion is created in an improvised manner. They can, it is impromptu, it is created as per the mood of the audience. Anything they will start talking. What are you doing? Okay, anything I will do. What is that to you? Something like that. They will start casually, and then this discussion will go on. What play you are performing? Why to perform this play by Kalidasa, etc. Anything. So this Trigata later on it developed into Prastavana or prologue of the playwright. And Abhinav Gupta says that this is the Prastavana done by the performers, and the Prastavana written by the uh, poet or the dramatist is different. So the performers are having their own prologue, creating in between themselves. That is Trigata. And Prarochna is appreciation. Sutradhara addressing the audience, suggesting the theme and plan of the play to be performed and appreciating it. This is Prarochna. Prarochna itself means appreciation. So Sutradhara then directly addresses the audience that we are now before you. We are presenting this play. So these are the 10 items Vardhanaka joined with Geetaka, as Abhinav Gupta suggests. Because Bharat Muni says that 19 items are there, all in all. Some other authors have added some other items, and Sharda Tanay, author of Bhav Prakashana, he said that there are 22 items. But we will remaining confined to Nāṭyaśāstra. In Nāṭyaśāstra, there are 19 items, 20 are counted, but one of them is included in the other. Vardhamanaka is included in the Gita. Okay, this I have covered. The next one, 39, says that Vardhamanaka, according to Abhinav Gupta, is performed in option to Gitaka. So either Gitaka or Vardhamanaka. Therefore, all in all, there are 19. Okay. So briefly, we will take up some important items. The elementary items we have taken up, those which are performed behind the curtain, and the items performed off the curtain. Some of them are very important. So some of them we will take up. Like this Asarita Kriya. Asarita Kriya is instruments are being played, some kind of tuning, with some kind of tuning. So Kalapat Vibhagartham, to distinguish, to make a distinction of Kala and Pata. Kala is the time, and Pata is giving the tal, like this Pata is the tali. So beating. So to make a distinction of time and beating, time and beats, this Asarita Kriya is performed. And this invocation or kirtan of gods, some kind of prayer to gods, that is Gita Vidhi, that is Gita. And Utthapan is another. 22nd stanza of 5th says, it is in 41st, next to it. Go to the next one. Yeah. So the prayoga is being taken up to heights, Utthapan of prayoga. So they are putting forward it. That is called Utthapan. So the actual prayoga is being taken up, and it is being presented before the audience, a rough idea of it. And this is done by the Nandi Pathakas. Those who will be reciting the Nandi, they enter and they start taking up the performance of the Nandi. That is Utthapan. And because it takes the performance to the heights, therefore it is called Utthapan. This is 22nd stanza. Then Parivartan is done in all the 4 directions. And when the elaborate Pūrvaraṅga is described by Bharat Muni, he says that 5 feet in this direction, then 5 feet in this direction, and again 5 feet, and then placing the Jarjara, and then Pushpanjali, the Visarjan of flowers. So all these items are done in a colorful and theatric manner. Otherwise, it is simply making a pradakshina of all the lokpalas or gods in four directions. So that is called parivartana. But if you do it in a very elaborate and theatric manner, as we do it now, that five steps are taken in a with a tempo and rhythm, and Sutadhara is holding that jarjara. He is walking in a danceful way. Then again he turns and takes five steps in another direction, and then so this is parivartana. Then definition of Nandi is simple definition. It is repeated by the later authors are also by the later authors also. Next is 40, 42nd. So Nandi is being defined here. So Nandi has benediction, Ashirvachan, let there be good for all. So good wishes for everyone. This Ashirvachan is there in Nandi. And this Ashirvachan, good wishes for everybody, for gods, for Dvijas, for Nrapa, etc. So because it makes Anandit, it makes everybody joyful. That is why it is called Nandi. Nandayatiti Nandi. It is from the root Nanda. So Anandayati Nandayati Devan. It pleases the gods. It makes everybody joyful. Therefore, it is Nandi. So Nandi is supposed to be very essential. And if all the items of Pūrvaraṅga are not being performed, at least Nandi should be done. This is what the later theorists say. As per Bharat Muni, all the items, 19 items will be performed. He doesn't say that you leave one or two or you drop all other items except Nandi. He doesn't say that. But the later theories say that if the performers cannot perform all the items, at least Nandi they should recite because it is benedictory. It is invocation of the gods and it is pleasing for everybody. Nandi is sung in a very beautiful way. And then um, the performers have their own Nandi, the specimen of which is given by Bharat Muni himself, that this is the Nandi normally sung. Otherwise, the playwrights, they have given their own Nandi with their plays, with their dramatic works. Kalidasa giving his own Nandis. So, in this way, there are two kinds of Nandis and two kinds of prologues. One prologue is done by the performers. So, Trigat, Prarochna, and Nandi. These three items serve the purpose of the prologue being performed by the actors. And Nandi and Prastavna, as authored by the dramatist, they are with the script, they are with the play, they are performed separately. So these two types are going on in the theatric system, in the performances. Abhinav Gupta also says this, that these two types of prologues, two types of Nandis, and there are two types of Sutradharas. One is called Sthapaka and another is Sutradhara. So Sthapaka enters after the prastavana has been done by the performers. So, so this was the system uh, running from the ancient days. And this Nandi there is very important. In 25th stanza, Shushka Krishna is defined. So it is simple definition. We have discussed it. Shushkakshara. Shushkaksharas are called syllables which do not have any meaning. Uttering the meaningless syllables or chanting the meaningless syllables is called Shushkakshara. So it makes, if they are chanted in a musical rhythm, they become Shushkakshara Dhruva. And this is one item, Shushka Krishna, and the uh, it is for Jarjara. It is, serves the purpose of worshipping the Jarjara. And Rangadwara is, Rangadwara is for the performers. So Rangadwara is for the performers. And Rangadwara is, Rangadwara is for the performers. And Rangadwara is for the Jarjara. It is, serves the purpose of worshipping the Jarjara. And Rangadwara is for the some kind of abhinaya is done, some kind of enactment of a of some episode of from the drama being performance that that is included in Rangadwara to give a sort of glimpse of the play being presented. You can have a very short episode. You can do it within a half minute, 1 minute. That the Dhivara enters in the Pūrvaraṅga, the Dhivara of Shakuntala. So the audiences know that this is the character we will be facing later on. Or Shakuntala enters. In nowadays performances also they do it sometimes that the actors uh, in proper costumes before the actual beginning of the play they enter to give an idea that these are the characters. These performers will be presenting these characters. So this is Rangadwara. And not only they enter, they do some Vachik and Angik. Vagangabhinayatmakam. This is the last word in 26th stanza. That some Vachik and Angik Abhinaya. They have some speech or some dialogue presented, and they have some physical gesticulation, some body movement, Angik Abhinaya they do. So we will come to these, how Vachik Abhinaya is done and how Angik Abhinaya is done. They are covered from chapter 8 to 17th. So some Vachik and Angik Abhinaya, which is actual performance, that will be, a glimpse of it will be presented in Rangadwara. Then movement with, with 1 feet raised high in a graceful manner. It is called Chari. Next stanza, 27th stanza. So Shangara Pracharana is Chari, and Rodra Pracharana, movement in a robust and fierceful way. That is Mahachari. And Trigata, it is also called Trika. Three persons conversing with each other. Three persons in conversation. One of them might be trying to find faults, and other one is just smiling, consoling him that don't worry, it will be, everything will be all right. So all this is something, some nonsense talk is also there. So that is called Trigata. So 20th stanza says, Vidushaka Sutadharas Tatha Vai Pariparshuka Yatra Kurvanti Sanjalpam Tachapi Trigatam Matam. Vidushak Sutradhara and Pariparshvik is assistant of Sutradhara, the Nāṭyaśāstra. Sanjalpa is conversation. So where they make a conversation, that is called Trigata. And then Prarochana, 29th stanza says that Prarochana consists of Kavyo Pakshepa. Kavya is here the drama which is being presented, which is shortly to be presented. So some upakshepa of kavya is done. Some episode is, a hint of the episode is given, is introduced. That is called kavya upakshepa. And why this uh, episode occurs in the play, the hetu and yukti, justification and reasoning for that is also presented. And Prarochana consists of amantrana, conversation about that episode which is being projected, which is being highlighted briefly. So that is called Prarochana. Then I am running short of time. I will quickly read it. And next is 44th slide. Dances and songs constituted a major part of remaining items. First, the songs in praise of God were sung, which is the 10th item. After that, Uthapani Dhruva is sung, having 11 syllables in each foot. So I am omitting the examples. The example of Uthapani Dhruva is given with 11 syllables in each quarter, and with the first two, fourth, eighth, and 11th are long dirgha, and others are short or rasva. It was to be sung in Chaturashtra Tala. So these talas are explained in Taladhyaya, which is uh, amongst the Sangita Adhyayas. So Chaturastra is a beating. So Chaturastra Tal will be played. Four parivartas or walking in rounds with the beatings of time is prescribed. As prescribed are to be observed in singing this dhruva. That is Utthapani dhruva. And there will be Sannipatas. Sannipatas is giving the beating by hands. And three kinds of layas, Druta, Madhya, and Vilambita. These three kinds of tempo or layas are there. So these tempos will be maintained respectively. At the end of the third Sannipata, the drums are played. When the second Parivarta is, there are several Parivartas or taking rounds. So in the second Parivarta, commenced in the middle tempo, Sutadhara, together with the two of his assistants, he will enter with flowers in his hand, purified and clad in white. He would cast glances in wonder. He will glance over the audience. What wonder is there? What a pleasure that you are here. Something like that he will convey by his eyes. His standing posture should be Vaishnava. Vaishnava Sthanak is a posture of standing. The Bharatanatyam dancers also perform this posture, and he carries a Brangara, a gold pitcher full of water, and Jarjara Indra's banner. As prescribed, the Sutadhara should go 5 steps. It should be stepped, and then offers the flower saluting Brahman or Brahma. The third Parivarta is done in quick tempo. So the first Parivarta is in Vilambit tempo, second Parivarta in Madhya tempo, and third tempo in Drut Laya, that is quick tempo. The Sutadhara sips and sprinkles himself. Achman he does, and then uh, sprinkling of the waters, promotion he does on the stage. Then the Jarjara is uh, taken up, it is raised. With this, the Sutadhara should chant some mantras and then approach the musical instruments. They would then start the fourth Parivarta, which should also be in quick tempo. And movements vary from 24 kalas to 30 kalas. Kala is the unit of beating, it's connected to the drums, and the Tyasra and Chaturasra are the type of talas. And in this way, the Utthapana is performed, and Utthapani Dhruva goes along with it. It's a bit intricate process, and those who know Bharata's music system, they would better understanding it. But it is very attractive and colorful when it is performed on the stage. The whole process with of parivarta, four parivartas, or taking four rounds in rhythmic steps and carrying the jarjara and bhangara, that is water, a jar full of water, and sutadhara accompanied with two assistants. One of them is vidushaka. So this is uttapani dhruva and uttapan and parivarta. Okay. So, okay, I will omit this parivartani dhruva and parivartana is done along with it. And rangat dwara. We have covered rangat dwara. It is giving the glimpse of the play with some episode of it. And Chari Mahachari I have taken up. Okay. So coming to 47th, uh, it says about Trigata. Vidushaka says some irrelevant things, much to the fun of the Sutadhara and others. The assistant Pariparshvika also joins the conversation, and Vidushaka twists the remarks of Sutadhara and the other to create laughter. The next item is Prarochana or laudation. In it, the Sutadhara would praise the audience, invite them to witness the play. It should be the play or welcome the gathering, and also mention the theme of the play just to be performed. Then all the three should leave the stage. This is Prarochana. And then Prastavana basically does not form a part of Pūrvaraṅga. Next, it is 48th. But three of its items, it is three. So three of its items, the Nandi, Trigata, and Prarochana, combined together may become something like a prologue or Prastavana, because they fulfill the main function of Prastavana. So Nandi is benedictory verse, Trigata is three persons talking about the play, and Prarochana is the appreciation of the play. This serves the purpose of a prologue done by the performers, and then the prologue or prastavana written by the dramatist. author of the play, is different. Then there is a description of a tussle between the gods and demons again, because Bharat Muni had incorporated Shushkakshara, meaningless utterance of meaningless syllables. So gods objected that they have no meaning. Why are you including them? So Narada says that no, the Danavas and Rakshasas are pleased with it because they do it in their musical system. Just as the tribes, you see, they are not singing actual songs, but they are uttering some meaningless sounds. If you see the tribes performing, and it is very attractive performance. They may be even in Africa, the tribes they perform on the meaningless syllables. The ball, the meaningless syllables, they are being chanted. And sometimes their utterance becomes very attractive, you see. It creates a kind of euphoria, it creates a sort of atmosphere and a rhythmic pattern. So gods objected to it. But Narada and Bharatmuni said, no, no, we should include it because the Danavas are to be appeased so that again they should not object to our performances and they should remain. So these stanzas speak about the inclusion of the Nirgita and Shushkakshara in the dramatic system of Bharat Muni. Okay. Then the remaining stanzas describe this Chitra Pūrvaraṅga, how it becomes colorful. There is a Pushpanjali Vimoksha. The bunch of flowers is you see released by the Sutadhara, and invocation of Brahma is done. This is slide 50th. Stanza is 72. And Sutadhara invokes Brahma and other gods. And this word is very important in Nāṭyaśāstra. It is 74th stanza, first line. Kala Prakarsh. You are running behind this. In 74th stanza, this word is Kala Prakarsha. Kala Prakarsha means stretching the time. And Bharat Muni suggests here that in Pūrvaraṅga you can stretch the time. So time becomes something to be played by you. It is in your hands. You can play with time. You can stretch it and you can shorten it. This is the idea. So in Parivartana, you can adopt slow tempo. You can take your own time. Or in singing the songs like Geetaka and Madraka, you can stretch the time. If you perform quickly, if you see that audiences are becoming restless and they want the actual play to be started, just as the modern audiences would like, they would say that why these useless things are you doing? What nonsense you are doing? You are too slow. So better be quick and start the play. Within 1 hour, 2 hours, the play should be finished. In ancient times, one performance of a play would be taking several months. So they had time. So they can play with time. So for Kala Prakarsha, for stretching the time, you can have these steps very slowly, slow walking you can do. You can do. So the layas can vary as per your tempo can vary as per that. Okay, so all these parivartas are described. And as I said, that the Nandi stanza has been specified by Bharat Muni. And this Nandi, the Sutadhara would be singing. So Nāṭyaśāstra itself gives the specimen of this Nandi from 105th stanza to 108th. And this Nandi would have 12 or 8 padas, Ashtpada Nandi and Dwadashpada Nandis. Pada here means uh, the number of words, and pada also means the syllables. So Ashtapada Nandi and Dwadashpada Nandi. Sometimes they do it by counting the syllables, sometimes by counting the words. Then the specimen begins from 105th, and the Nandi verse says, Namostu Sarva Devepya, salutations to all gods, Dvijatibhya Shubham Tatha, let there be good for the Brahmins or Dvijatis, Jitam Somena Vairagya, Soma Raja has won. Soma is a Vedic god, and it's an invocation of song, Soma. And Shivam Go Brahmanaya, there should be Shiva or auspiciousness for cows and Brahmins. Brahmottaram tathaivastu hata Brahmat vishas tatha. Let Brahman or Brahmagyan should be established, and those who are opposing it should be destroyed. Prashastinam Prashastimam Maharaja Prithivim Sasagaram. Let the king rule over this whole earth encircled by seas. Okay, this is the idea of national integration, you can say, or unity of the country, nation, one nation which is encircled by sea. This is one, and one king would be ruling over it. And Rashtam Pravartatam Chaiva Rangasyasha Samradhyatu. Let this Rashtra rise, it should make progress, and the hopes of the Ranga here indicates the performers. The hopes of the performers should be fulfilled. Samradhyatu. Preksha Kartur Mahan Dharma. A person who has sponsored the show. Preksha is one show. Prekshakar is the person who has sponsored the show. Let him get Mahan Dharma. He should earn merit. He should earn the punya, as spoken by Brahma. Kavya Kartur Yashaschastu. Let the Kavyakara or the poet who has authored the play, let him also attain fame and kirti, and dharmashchapi pravardhatam. Let dharma rise. Ijjaya chanaya nityam priyantam devata. Let the gods be pleased with this ijja. Ijja is yagya, Vedic yagya. So the whole theater performance is viewed as ijja or yagya. So whatever we are doing, let the gods be pleased with it. This is the Nandi. And with the chanting of this Nandi, Sutadhara will be chanting this Nandi, and Evam Arya, this will be said by his assistants, two pariparshikas, two persons who are walking, who have thanked him. So they will be on each every pada. They will say, "Let it be so, let it be so." Evam Arya means let it be so. So it becomes dramatic. Just as Tijanbai performs, she is narrating the story, and the persons sitting behind her, they will be giving some sound, ha ha, like this they will be chanting. So in this way, these persons assisting Sutadhara, they will be saying evam arya, let it be so, let it be so. Then 110th stanza says this, that this Nandi should be performed in this way. Yathaval Lakshanan Vita. It should be imbued with all the characteristics of Nandi. And Shushka Krishna with the shloka for the Jajara should also be performed as per the prescriptions of uh, Shastra. And as I said, there is an example of Shushka Krishna. Digle, 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 jambu palitakate, te, cham. These ball, these are the meaningless sounds uttered with the Shushka Krishna. They are given in the 112th stanza. Okay, next one. Okay. Rest of the stanzas I have covered. I have explained Trigata and Prarochna and Nandi. They are taken up in the rest of the stanzas. So we have read the whole fifth chapter and the explanation of the Pūrvaraṅga. The last stanza says, Evamesha prayoktabhya Pūrvarango yatha vidhi. This Pūrvaraṅga should be performed as per vidhi, as per the prescriptions. And last stanza say that too much songs, too much dance should not be done with the performance of Pūrvaraṅga, because the audiences will be tired of them, and the performers will also be tired. They are tired in the performance of Pūrvaraṅga itself, then how will they perform the whole play? So they should not overdo with the songs and dances, because if you have too much of the song and too much of the song dances, then rasas and bhavas will not be clear. because of the excess of all these additional items. This is 159th stanza. Kinnanam rasabhaveshu spashtata nopajayate. If they are tired of these dances and songs, too much of them, too much of their performance, then rasa and bhava will be will not be clear, and they will not be so interested in the remaining performance. Tata shesha prayogastu narag janko bhavet. The remaining actual performance will not be interesting them so much. And Bharat Muni then says that this is the prastavana done by the performers. Then the sthapaka would enter and he will do his own prastavana. He will tell them about the kavya he will tell them about the author of the kavya or play, and he will tell them about the actual play to be performed. This is the so this in this way two types of prologues are there. This is 57th slide, and Abhinav Gupta says that one by the performers and one by the author. So here I end.